Zeke was my sister's ex-boyfriend. He was the man.
You gotta jerk off before you go fuck a girl. I jerked off before I picked you up. So always be prepared. I don't know where the fuck we're going tonight.
And he made me feel like the man.
Fuck yeah, Mo. Got a home run.
Who's gonna drink it?
Hold on, what's in that?
Whiskey, beer, cough syrup, and Zanny bar. Oh, damn. Oh, that's my dude.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Film Optics movie review. And today we are going to be reviewing Big Time Adolescence. I'm your host, Christian, and joining me today is my co-host, as always, Devin. How are you doing today, man? We made it through another week.
Barely.
Another week in quarantine. How are you holding up over there?
Had a nice callback to the old Adolescence days with this movie. Nice memory lane.
Oh, did you really? That's very interesting.
I had also a grown man adult following me around for the whole time. But
hey, man, it pretty much sounds like a Tuesday every Tuesday.
Strange friendship.
Very strange friendship. Yeah, it's been crazy. Like, I mean, we heard that was it Portrait of a Lady on Fire is coming to Hulu, and Big Time Adolescence can also be viewed on Hulu since it is no longer showing the theaters.
I actually hadn't heard of the movie until you sent it over.
Oh, Big Time Adolescence or Portrait of a Lady on Fire, or both?
Big Time.
I didn't hear. I heard about it from Hannah from the Cinemania World team. So I asked her to come on, but she was busy. So that's all right. We'll have her on some other time. But yeah, man. So I resubscribed my Hulu account. I didn't do it for Big Time Adolescence though. Sorry, everyone. I was a little strapped for cash at the time, and priorities take place first and foremost. But how do you deal with these ads on Hulu? It's like the same 5 ads. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I just take out my phone and browse Twitter for a little bit and just hope they end soon.
It's just, yeah, I guess so. It's something I'm gonna have to get used to because I really miss that student discount because mine ran out a long time ago with the Spotify Hulu combination. But even then, I think the Hulu account that you got was with ads. Same with the Disney Plus bundle. So you kind of lose out a little bit there, but I don't know. And before we begin today's review, you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Google Music, Anchor, Podbean, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and yeah, I believe it's about it. And a few others, Castbox and what have you. So those are just like the major ones. But anyway, let's just dive right in. I'll read the synopsis and then we'll kind of give our first thoughts about the movie and then we'll dive into spoilers. So here we are. The synopsis reads, a drug-dealing college dropout becomes a mentor to his best friend, a straight-laced teen who idolizes him, which is pretty much the long and short of the movie. Directed by Jason Orley, and screenplay was written by him as well. And this movie stars Griffin Gluck,
What a name.
Amy
Griffin Gluck.
Gluck. Gluck. Gluck. That's a pretty interesting name. We have Emily Arlick and Michael Devine. I believe
And
that's how you
Pete
say it.
Davidson, of course.
And Pete Davidson, of course. And this again
And
is streaming.
Machine Gun Kelly for whatever reason. He's
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
and that's right. He is in this movie, and it didn't even faze me that he was in there. I'm like, oh, it's MGK. I'm like, wait a minute, it's MGK. What? I haven't seen since Bird Box. What's going on?
Whoa,
But
that was a rough one.
but okay, well, I would say his character serves more of a purpose here than in Bird Box.
His character in Bird Box was terrible. Just disappeared.
He hooks up with a girl that they're bickering with each other, and then they just take off in a car, and you never hear from them again. So yeah, I guess that's how you exit a celebrity who has other things to do. I don't know, but again, Big Time Adolescence is on Hulu. For those of you, again, just wanted to read
And
it.
apparently it
Excuse me.
had a theater release at some point.
Apparently it did. I didn't hear anything about it. I'm telling you, Hannah was talking it up, and I saw a few other people talking about it on the old Twitter, and I wasn't sure what I had no clue what this movie was about. I just turned it on just to see what everyone's, what all the hubbub was about, and I actually ended up liking it a lot. But I just wanted to get we'll start here, I guess, with your first thoughts of the film, Devin. So why don't you go ahead?
I would say overall I also liked the movie a fair amount. I guess we'll talk about it later, but the ending for me really dropped it down a little bit. I don't know if that's just me.
I think I would have to disagree, but I know a lot of other people on Twitter feel the same way, or film Twitter, I should say. We all know how much we love film Twitter out there, but yeah, I ended up really liking this movie. You know me, I'm a big sucker for these coming of age films, and this is a coming of age film that I don't think we've really had before. Well,
Yeah,
it's
it's
well,
because it's
especially
such a strange scenario to base the film around, like a 24-year-old hanging out with a 16-year-old. Like,
yeah, and vice versa, but it's more so, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much my initial thoughts. I was really taken with this movie. I was glued the entire time. Like I didn't want to do anything else. I was like invested. I was in. I just liked it a lot. I don't know. I mean, I have a few experiences myself with having, growing up, and my best friend's her older brother. Like I kind of connected that way because I looked up to him growing up, and I kind of related with that. Granted, he is not like Zeke, but in the in the way that, oh my gosh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. In the way that this movie has it, I kind of just um I disagreed with it a lot. But was there anything else you wanted to mention before we just dive into spoilers here?
let's just dive in.
All right, everyone. We're going to be diving into spoilers. So if you haven't seen Big Time Adolescence, what are you doing listening to this podcast? We need you to
Actually, now
go.
that I think about it, I didn't get
Oh,
ads while I watched it. Maybe it's just movies
hmm?
or this
maybe
certain
maybe
movie.
it's just, is it certain movies, or
But I didn't get any ads.
have you gotten ads before while watching a movie on
I usually watch shows. I don't know, and I do
I
get
don't
ads
know
during
either.
shows.
Well, I see, like, even with the ads on the shows, like, I feel like they just take up much longer of a time, which comes back to my point. It's like we're paying what, $6 a month. I expect to at least have, like, if you're gonna play an ad, maybe like one ad per show. But like it's just so bombarded, and I just don't like it. So I'm I don't know, man. This sucks.
First world problems.
It is a first world problem. And you know what? If I'm going to be quarantined and stuck in my house for God knows how long, I shouldn't have to watch ads. Just saying,
Maybe
Hulu, you should kind of.
you can take
Hmm?
that big stimulus check and get yourself some Hulu Plus or whatever it's called,
Yeah. Well, no. Oh, the Hulu Live TV.
or
What
yeah,
is like?
whatever. But you don't have to watch ads.
Oh my god. Well, yeah. Well, there's Hulu Live TV, which is around what, $50, and then I think the step down is the no ads option, which is around, I think, 11, $12. And then the ad version, for whatever reason, you still have to pay, and you're still getting ads. Literally no other streaming service does this. I don't understand it whatsoever. I don't know if it's Disney being greedy or whatever, because it doesn't happen on Disney Plus. It sure as hell doesn't happen on Amazon Prime or Netflix. So, or HBO. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm paying for a service. I shouldn't have to watch ads. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, rant's over. Let's get into spoilers here. So, yeah. So, I mean, I guess since we already kind of brought up the ending of the movie, we can do that first. So,
It kind of just
between
ends.
it kind of just ends, and I feel like a lot of shows, or excuse me, a lot of movies have been doing that lately. I know when I went to go see Waves, I'm not sure if you've watched it yet or not, but that movie, like it was good. It definitely felt like two movies like built into one. But the movie literally kind of just ends. like just out of nowhere. I mean, you had Monroe, played by Griffin Gluck. That's such a
Luck.
weird Luck. Gluck and Pete Davidson, he's playing Zeke. Um, so at the very end of the movie, after Zeke has indirectly and or if directly ruined Monroe's high school life, where he had to change schools because he was expelled from his current school. And it seems that Monroe's doing he's doing well on his own. He goes through a drive through. Zeke's kind of been bouncing from job to job within the entire film, and he runs into him. And then Monroe doesn't really feel like talking to him. And I felt like it made sense because, I mean, even from some of my childhood friends and a childhood friend that we both know, we kind of just I kind of just stopped hanging out with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just didn't, like it just wasn't really it was fun while it lasted, but like one day you kind of just, I guess, wake up, smell the roses, and you're just singing a different tune that day. And Zeke's like, oh yeah, like, hey man, it's been a while, let's hang out. And Monroe's like, yeah, yeah, maybe, kind of, like, I don't know. He's giving him kind of, sort of, definite, like, stringing along just to kind of get through the conversation. And then I think Zeke knew that he wasn't really gonna like hang out with them, and
I
then
just
that
like I
kind
don't
of
really
just
know what they're trying to like go for with that ending. It's like, do they want you to feel bad for Zeke? Or do they want you to like realize that he is a loser? Because that's pretty much what he was at the end. I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't know, man, because like the way I saw it, it was more of they share the way that, and for everyone, so the way that Zeke ends up hanging out with Monroe is that Zeke used to date Monroe's sister, and then they broke up because Zeke cheated on him, and then he doesn't really understand the errors of his ways, like, at all, especially after like Monroe sleeps with like his current girlfriend, which I was like, oh, like I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen, but then that kind of fizzled out, and they kind of brought it back, but then Zeke didn't really care. So I was like, I kind of wanted to see Zeke mad at some point, but he just wasn't. I think he was just like a chill dude. But between the ending, I think it was just more of, for me, it was more of a dying of a friendship, or a brotherhood, whatever you want to call it. I can't really say I necessarily felt bad for one person more than the other, because Monroe really makes a lot of mistakes in this movie as well. But it was just, I don't know, it was just, a death of a friendship, or two people parting ways and never really hanging out again, because I mean, you could tell Monroe's kind of just over it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's life. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of people, sure, we all all used to hang out with, throughout high school, and you kind of just stop one day and just, you just don't, you just don't really feel like hanging out with so and so, or I don't know,
Kinda
but
kind of a similar message that Good Boys had.
yeah, I mean, and that's why I wanted to bring up as well, between Good Boys, especially Good Boys, more so than Booksmart, because that was more of a, their friendship continued throughout the movie, and when the movie ended. But yeah, with Good Boys, they say that you're only what friends with the people around you because your parents are friends, or you go to the same school and whatnot. But well, Monroe got, he got expelled from his current school, and now he goes to a different school, and it's like, what's the point? Like, why even bother trying to rehash something that, you could tell that Monroe was very, he looked up to Zeke in like more ways than one. And I don't know, man,
And
I mean,
he
like,
like defended him the whole movie too.
yeah, he really did. It was, like, I mean, and I understand, because it's like, he's 16, he doesn't necessarily see the error of his ways, he just sees, oh, like, when he's hanging out with Zeke's friends, and he's like, oh, he's like, I'd rather hang out with you guys over, people in my own, grade or class, because, it makes me look cooler. And it's like, yeah, in a way it does, but like, it also depends on what kind of people you're hanging out with. But Monroe becomes like this big, like, drug, well, not a big drug lord, but he becomes the
A
guy.
high school drug lord.
Yeah, a high school drug lord. And can we talk about his friend, by the way, who freaking
He
ratted him
was so
out?
random.
Awful, terrible. I absolutely hated him. I wanted to punch that boy.
They weren't even friends. Like
And I
he was just
thought it made
there.
it seem, yeah, it made it seem like they were, but at the same time, like, I mean, towards the end, the cops are trying to figure out where all these drugs are coming from all these, random parties that the kids are throwing, and then he just throws them under the bus. I was like, dude, you pestered him the entire movie and just freaking ratted him out. Like, what are you, a freaking narc? Get out of here. Oh my
The other
gosh.
part I thought was weird was when uh Monroe hooked up with Zeke's second girlfriend. That was
I was
weird.
actually cheering for, I was hoping that would happen, but then it
It's
kind
just a
of,
weird, like, what I mean, they never say what age she is, but you kinda guess she's
yeah,
close to Zeke's age,
Zeke's,
so around 24-ish, and he's 16. It's weird.
yeah,
And then, like,
that
what was he just did she just want revenge? It was just like it was
I
weird.
think so, because it's like as
And
soon
then
as they
he
introduced
didn't even get
her,
mad, like, he just doesn't care.
yeah, like he didn't care about like anything either. Even after like Monroe's, his dad was just like, "I need you to stop hanging out with my son." But like before then, that was at towards the end of the movie. During the beginning, he's like, I don't understand what Monroe sees in you, but it's, and they don't really explain it. They kind of just say, "Oh, he likes hanging out with like an older brother," but it's like I kind of get it at the same time because I mean, he has an older sister, and that's like, not saying that's like a bad thing for everyone out there who's listening. It's just normally when you have, when you're younger, you're the younger brother and your sister's older and you don't really have anyone. I mean, like, yeah, you have your dad, but you kind of want someone closer to your age, and it kind of made sense, I mean, in a
You could
way.
tell the dad the whole movie was just like, "Why me?"
Yes. He was great though. I mean, the mom didn't really do too much, but he definitely had his moments in this movie.
I think that's
Like,
my favorite part was because in real life, John Cryer, who plays the dad, and
mm.
Pete Davidson always jokes how they look alike, and they kind of do, but they really sound alike. I don't know if you noticed, but they have, like,
Yeah,
the
no,
same
I
exact
agree.
voice.
Yeah,
So it's
I
just
I
funny
totally,
how they're both in this movie.
it was great. But yeah, even with Monroe starts to, he wants to, what it was his, I think it was his first, what, quote unquote senior party that he got invited to by the narc, because that's, I'm just gonna call him the narc because he was a narc, freaking narc. Um he runs into, what is it? Kate, was it Kate Harris? Or was his quote unquote love interest, the girl, I think it was, is it Emily Arlook? I believe so. No, it was not. My bad. That was his sister. See, on IMDb, they don't really, you know what I'm talking about, right? His Monroe's love interest throughout
Yeah,
the,
I don't know her name, though.
yeah, and sometimes on IMDb it has like, the names of the actor and then the name of their character and their actual photo, but I think it was Holly. Nope, Holly was the older girlfriend. Anyway, we so he starts hanging out with her, and she seems really cool, and then it's like Monroe literally becomes like a mini me version of Zeke, because Zeke just doesn't listen like at all. And then Monroe's talking to his girlfriend, and they're going through, oh, like we should get back together, or, well, Monroe's talking about it, and then he just tries to like kiss her after she says something, and it's like he didn't even listen. It's like he was so much like Zeke, it was crazy.
Yeah,
But
just a mini me.
literally just a mini me. But I guess one, so like what's like a favorite scene of yours from this from the film
I like
that kind of stood
the
out to you?
random dancing scene they had. That was pretty funny. They had that weird dance they did.
Oh yeah, do the burn it. So like, okay, honest to God, what did you think of Machine Gun Kelly as Nick?
He was just there. I mean, he wasn't bad, but he also didn't do anything to stand out.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with all with Zeke's other friends. They were kind of just there. And I do agree with you with his with Zeke's current girlfriend because she finds out that Zeke was talking to someone else, girl sending him nudes, what have you, and she's kind of just done with it, and then it's like Zeke just doesn't understand what's going on. I wish they would have delved a little bit more into why Zeke is the way he is, but I mean, is this burnout? I mean, the girl Holly, his girlfriend, played by Sydney Sweeney. I think she did a good job, but it's just you know he was
Yeah,
Zeke was a
now that I think
burn.
about it, there wasn't much backstory for Zeke because they mentioned at one point he lives in his grandma's house, and
Yeah.
they also have that friend who shows up at the end of his, but then not much
Oh
else.
yeah, when Monroe gets like really high, well, he gets
Yeah,
stuck in the hot box, and like that kind of reminded me. It's like okay, either this is someone that Zeke used to hang out with, the older guy who came by like randomly, and it's like Zeke hasn't really mentioned him the entire movie, and then he kind of just pulls back into like this old version of Zeke's like, oh, it's hey, like like I'm sorry, man, but it's I forgot the dude's name. Honestly, he was so minute to the story, but then Monroe comes back because he has a family dinner and he just smells straight like weed, and then he gets his tongue daddy tattoo.
Tongue Daddy.
Tongue daddy. But I think my favorite line from this entire movie was Monroe's girlfriend at the time when she first meets him, and she says that Hermione was the ultimate pimp, and I totally agree.
Okay, that's a small one, but I'm sure
Yeah,
you.
it's small, but I'm a Harry Potter fan, so. But yeah, I would so you said your favorite scene was from them dancing. I would probably say that mine was I think when Monroe brings his girlfriend to hang out, with Dubois, the boys,
They do some
and
Edward 40 hands.
yeah, I think that was the funniest part for me. I've definitely done that a few times myself, but she just kept talking and talking. And then I think was MGK was on like the quote unquote DJ. She's like, "Oh, are you the DJ? Can
Play
you play
Megan
Cousin Bell?"
Trainer.
But yeah, Megan Trainer. And he was like, "Yo, who is this chick?" I thought that was pretty great. But so I guess so we've gone through, favorite moments. Any like what's like so you would you say the ending was like the least favorite moment for you?
Yeah,
Okay. Um I would probably say the least favorite moment for me would have to be the hmm, I guess when, Monroe tells Zeke that he hooked up with Holly, Zeke's current girlfriend at the time, but and then he kind of and I wanted a reaction out of Zeke because throughout the entire movie, Zeke's always asking about Monroe's sister because they used to date, and they really set like a really great precedence for Zeke during the beginning of the film as to I can understand why the 16-year-old looks up to him at the time, or he wasn't 16 at the time, younger. But I was like, he seems like a really cool dude. So it's like, no duh. But yeah, definitely have to say that was probably my least favorite because I was expecting, some tension to build up and then for it to explode, but nothing really happened. But I guess this bears a question between the previous, excuse me, coming of age stories we've gotten between Superbad, Good Boys, Book Smart, and Big Time Adolescence. How would you rank?
oh, this one's definitely at the bottom for me. Like, a pretty
Oh,
steep
wow.
steep difference between
Oh,
the 3 you mentioned in this one.
my heart. You know what? I would have to say this would have to be at the bottom because I do enjoy the others just a little bit more. But I still do enjoy this because it was more of a, instead of yeah, they were friends, but it really kind of felt like they were brothers in a way. So I really do enjoy how they stack that. It would definitely be at the bottom of that list. But
That's
would you
that's tough
watch
competition, I will say.
it is, and it's very hard to, for a, coming of age story to come off in a positive light. I think Big Time Adolescence does, but,
I do think
I can
the
understand.
writing was pretty sharp and it had some clever moments throughout,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, go ahead, I didn't mean to cut you off.
especially the dialogue between the 2, and they were always pretty snappy.
Yeah, I would have, pretty much. I'm trying to think what else. Well,
I
I
also
guess.
think I feel like Pete Davidson gets a bad rap just because he dated Ariana Grande and people kinda just hate him for random things like that. I think he's just doing his thing.
I mean, he looks like he's just doing his thing. I mean, he's I mean, he's been in a few movies here. That Trainwreck, I do remember seeing that. Um, Set It Up. I actually did not see that one. I would have to agree, man. He's doing his thing, and that's all people can ask for.
Yeah.
Because yeah, but I guess so. I wanted to ask, would you watch this again if it popped up on your TV?
Um, it would have to be like have to be desperate. I don't know.
Really? Oh my
I feel like
god, Kevin.
there's not much to rewatch here unless you, like, didn't catch some of the jokes or something.
No, no, the jokes are definitely on point. It was great. Like I would definitely watch this again. Out of my way, I would watch this again. It probably wouldn't be the first thing that I think of to watch, but I would definitely watch again. And if it comes out on Blu-ray, I think I would pick it up. I think I would for sure. Absolutely. So, you want to get into scores?
Yeah, I think, he should go first.
Oh God. So, out of 100, I I'm gonna give this guy a solid 73.
Alright.
So, it's good. I think it has a lot of rewatchability, at least a few times over. There's not a lot of Easter eggs or anything in this movie. I mean, there might be, but you would have to do like a full movie trailer slash breakdown. But yeah, I'll go with the solid 73. I'm really afraid to ask you what your score is.
So, the first, like, 90 minutes of the movie, my score was at a solid 65. Then the ending happened, so now
Oh
it's
my
at a
god.
55.
Why?
I
No,
didn't like
50.
the ending.
Oh,
It just
I
stopped,
it
and
tore me apart at the ending. Is it's like it's so sad.
it's like,
He's
yeah,
done
he's a
with all of
loser,
this.
but we already knew that.
I mean, I didn't necessarily feel bad for Isaac himself,
Isaac.
but or Zeke, sorry. Yeah. For anyone out there, I I felt like I knew Zeke was also short for Isaac, or I feel like someone just made that up
I've never heard of
because
that. That was strange to me.
I was like, wait, if his name is Isaac, why wasn't his name just Ezekiel? But I guess Isaac's more easier to pronounce than Ezekiel, so maybe that's why. Um, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I thought the ending. I thought the ending was very fitting. It wasn't like a what, Zeke, you're not good for me, and like, even though he already pretty much says that, like, he blows up at Zeke and says, I don't want to be like you when I grow up. But then again, Zeke has like no reaction. He's just like this super like stoner guy. I don't know. It's weird, but I thought the ending was fitting, but to say it's a 55, I'm hurt beyond belief.
It was at a 65 for so long, and I was just like, "Oh, boy,"
Oh my
because
gosh. Well,
it
there you
just
have
went to
it.
credits, and he drove off, and I was like, "Oh, it's over."
Exactly. He's done. He's finished. He doesn't want to be tied down anymore. He's at a new school. He's trying to rebuild his life again and not make the same mistakes. I understand. Not really. But I thought it was a fitting ending. That's okay though. But I believe that does it for this review of Big Time Adolescence. As always, Devin, thank you for coming on and talking of movies, TVs, films, and video games and all this jazz. So, also, everyone, be sure to check out our new show that we put out. Even though I'm saying that because we're recording this first, fine. Go check out our excuse me, our new show. We're going to be talking about a lot of Star Wars news and a little bit of DC news here and there. I think we have a solid we had a solid talk. So
Yes.
um anyway, again, for everyone listening, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Film Optics. Optics is spelled OPTIX, and you can also, literally any podcast platform that you can think of. I'd say we're pretty much safe on for now until we get that Sirius XM, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Anchor, Podbean, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. So go ahead and check us out. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, however people would like to call it nowadays. But I believe that does it. So we will see you guys in the next one.
Peace.